一条江，我牵着马，迎来日出，送着晚霞，太平洋可称大道。I went to the Chinese countryside to spend spring festival there. For a month I talked with folks about the things of which they care. They give their lives to make China strong and will make it stronger yet. But the struggles they still face ahead, they ask you now.
Hey, guess who is here? The Black Pearl of China with Small Chinese. I'm here, I'm the host and everything about behind Small Chinese, and I have my wonderful brother, the cameraman is behind the camera. He's my brother Samuel from Ghana. It's my teamwork. We are pushing Small Chinese. And this is my first episode on interviewing people who live in China. Them tell us about China and their story and how the simple way of learning Chinese. And for me, I choose him to be the first person because he's a special person to my life, special person in the community and in society. So let's meet with a wonderful man called Mr. Mark. So he's going to introduce yourself. Hello, Mr. Mark. How are you?
Hi, very good.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah.
Happy to see you again.
Yes, and people from Small Chinese around the world are listening to you, and you can introduce yourself.
Wonderful. My name is Mark Levine. I came to China from the United States 15 years ago. And I teach at several universities over the years. And for the past 13 years, I've taught at Minzu University of China, a very special university with students from all 56 Chinese ethnic groups. So in addition to that, I played guitar since I was very, very young. But one of the things, I was always playing other people's music.
Yeah.
But after I came to China, suddenly I felt inspired by what I saw and the people that I met and the places that I visited.
Okay.
So since 2008, the past 12 years, I've been performing in many different places, different provinces and so on, or television, or radio, and so on. And all of my songs are about China.
Wow. So when you said about China, I want to ask you, why did you choose China as an American citizen? A wonderful American teacher.
I had just come.
Professor.
I had some friends, people I was working with, and they had come to China. This was 2005, and this was in the years before the Beijing Olympics in 2008. And China was eagerly seeking foreigners to help prepare for the Olympics. And to help teach, we taught police officers and taxi drivers and nurses and people working in banks and people working in the post office, in addition to students, university students and students all the way down to even kindergarten. And so I decided to come for 1 year, but I'm still here.
So what's your experience here now? The third question is like, people want to know what is your experience in China.
Okay, well, before I came to Beijing, I lived in a city in Jiangsu province, south of, just north of Shanghai. And I was in a city, it's called Huai'an. And Huai'an was the hometown of the first premier of the People's Republic of China, Zhou Enlai. Okay. And the first song, and there have now been more than 70 songs that I've written about China. And the very first one was about this city, and it was called Huai'an, Promise of the Future. And I talk about wonderful things that I saw in this city, but part of what I also talked about in the song was the feeling. You could feel the growth. You could feel life getting better for more and more and more people.
So when you say about the feeling, how did you see China change, the changes of China?
Well, since that time, there are lots of, when I first came, lots of young Chinese people, they would do things like, they'd look at the back of an iPhone and they'd say, look at this. It says, designed in California and assembled in China. And they'd say, oh, we need to be designing things like this. But now nobody says that anymore. They say, oh, I have my Huawei phone, I have my Xiaomi phone, I have the other phones. And they're very proud of the changes and the development. I've traveled not only because of music, but I've also lectured at many, many universities in different parts of China. And I used to fly, but now more often I'll take the high-speed train because it's more comfortable and you get there quicker.
Yeah, like when you said taking the train, you used to fly, going there quicker. What do you want to tell the people outside there about the changes you see in China?
This is an important part. You're aware of the Belt and Road program.
Yes.
All right, and I think part of what that is if we go back to the earlier days of the People's Republic of China, people were struggling here to survive and to live. And at that point in time, one friend of mine who's a farmer in Hubei province, and he describes that. He's about my age, and he describes that time, and he said, we didn't have too many friends around the world. And then he specifically talked about, he was telling me about this because I have a new book that'll be coming out, and I talk about his story. And one of the things that he talked about has, among the best friends, were many African countries.
Wow.
And I think the Belt and Road program is aimed at saying, okay, we need to give back. We need to take, we've been able to develop, we've been able to grow, we've been able to, poverty is not eliminated, but we've eradicated a good deal of it, and now it's our time to be a win. We have the resources, and now we need to share that.
Yes, when you say share, when you talk about share, so what is your inspiration makes you stay in China? And the inspiration you see foreigners are having in China?
I think one of the things that's happening, particularly since COVID-19 came about, is there's a lot of hope in China, and in many places around the world these days, including my own country, there's not a great deal of hope.
Yeah.
And so part of what I continue to, whatever I'm doing, I'm also continuing to teach, and I see these young people who, they have personal ambitions, but it's also they're seeing what they're doing is preparing themselves to contribute to China's further development.
And when we come here, we don't want to. Sometimes you go straight. We have to have some fun. I want us to get some fun. This is a fun time.
All right.
And you've been talking about you travel different cities.
Yeah.
I want to ask you just fast question. One time.
Okay.
Which city did you like best in China?
Beijing.
If you are talking about
Beijing.
Tourism. I want for tourism. I want people to come to China. Tourism.
I like every place I've been. I like every place I've been, but I like Beijing the best.
Why?
Because it's very well. I'll tell you. I grew up in the 1950s and 1960s in Los Angeles, and Beijing today reminds me of Los Angeles at that time, both in the good and bad. A lot of traffic, sometimes pollution, bad, but it's big, getting bigger, spread out. You can see mountains. You can see mountains outside of Los Angeles, but the other thing is there are people here who come from all over China and all over the world, and many people come. One of my songs is called Bei Piao.
Bei Piao means those foreigners comes to Beijing.
But not just
like
the foreigners, not just foreigners.
Even the Chinese from
even
different
Chinese
cities.
People.
Like we all Bei Piao.
People come and they have a dream and they want to, this is the place. Then it's just loaded with just fast, high-speed energy.
Okay, when you said this,
that's why
I have another one. Okay, another one to ask you. You've been eating, just now we're eating Chinese food. I know you like it. What's the favorite food in China?
Favorite food?
Chinese.
Mapo tofu.
Mapo tofu. Oh!
Yeah, tofu.
That's why I saw you order, you see?
Yeah.
This is a tofu. So,
right.
Oh!
But this is not the spicy
Yes, I know this is not the
tofu.
Spicy one, but they use this one and they make it with spicy.
That's right.
And what is the most easiest Chinese did you ever learn when you arrive in China?
The easiest?
Two, yes.
Easiest.
2 Chinese words, just 1, 2.
Okay. 多少钱?
How much? I know a foreigner like to ask, how much is this?
太贵了.
It's very expensive. What I want to say thank you, and I wish you all the best in China. And this is your second home, and the Chinese people loves you, American people loves you, we loves you, everybody loves you, and small Chinese loves you. Hope to hear from you again, your story in China, and follow us on Small Chinese, and I'm going to explain everything to you in Chinese when it's time. Thank you so much for following us with Small Chinese. Africa, Europe, America, China, Asia, every part of the world, anywhere you find yourself, as long as you're humble, you focus, you learn the culture, and you follow the rules, of that country, it could be your home, just like me and him. This is our second home. So China is your second home too. Follow us with Small Chinese. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. 谢谢。